That's sexy, huh?
We might be on.
Wonder why that's sexy.
I don't know. Sign language.
Hey, we're working. We're back.
We're doing?
We're back.
Does anybody know what we
We're
signed?
good. I was trying to learn sign language real quick. I know it's just such an easy thing to learn, but it's I love you
Sexy.
and sexy.
I love you, sexy.
I love you, sexy.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
You can hear us. You can see us. We're going live. We're doing it.
You're never gonna know the horrible things that we just said. You'll never know.
You'll never know. So, a question for people in the chat. So, my next big adventure, I want to go to Rwanda. Has anybody ever been? It's quite expensive, which, if I'm going to get a tour guide trekking me through the mountains, I'm going to pay them money, like good money. It's going to be a very difficult job, right?
Sure.
So it's going to be like an expensive adventure. I'm going to save for it, obviously, but has anybody ever been? Thank you, Spaghetti Lee. We love you. Metal Horns is with the thumb out. All right. So why Rwanda? Well, it's known as the land of 1,000 hills, and it's gorgeous. And it's very safe. They banned plastic, and they have car-free areas. So it's like ahead of the game in clean energy, clean air. They also are the first to ever have a majority female parliament. I'm down. They have milk bars where you can go get a glass of milk and an egg. That sounds fun.
This is the future that liberals want for you. This is why that's so scary. Isn't that
why
frightening?
that's so scary.
Isn't it frightening?
Oh, man.
That sounds great. Are you
Tech Near Torton, thank you for subscribing. Sorry.
you're gonna go? How are flights over there? Like, how are what cost?
It's going to be about 1,200 round trip, but that's like what, $600 to get across the world?
Yeah, I wonder what that flight time is.
It's about, well, there's a couple different ways I can do it. One is I would have like a 20-hour layover in Qatar, which I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, and that's also very safe. Obviously, it's an Islamic country, so there's no PDA, and it's like, please, you could sort of wear street clothes there like this, but kind of cover your shoulders a little bit. They do have sleeping pods in the airport, so if I just don't want to go out, I could do that. But
wow, you've done some intense research.
I have. Or I could like stay in Brussels. There's also the airport in Brussels. That's another like long layover. So let me know if you've been to Qatar, Brussels, or Rwanda.
No directs, huh?
No directs. I'm ready for my next adventure, though. I'm excited to get obsessed.
Okay, but what's the air time in the airplanes in between the layovers? Do you know?
I think it's like 13 hours.
Okay, that's like Australia from here.
Yeah, and then you chill out in either place. And then I think from Qatar, it's like a 6-hour flight.
Okay.
Maybe 4.
I think it's great. You should do it.
Public art in Brussels is supposed to be amazing. All right. I don't know. We got a few things.
We are going to choose all of Amber's life decisions in a poll tonight. That's what we're going to do.
That's right.
Should she go walk through the streets of downtown LA tonight and just talk to the people
Yeah.
by herself?
I'm a girl of the people. I take the subway. I take the bus. We all know this. I love public transportation.
Walking around, poking your nose into people's stuff.
That's right.
Looking in windows.
Only a couple times have people crashed out on me, but I take that as like, that's like getting in an accident on the highway.
What is?
Like people just being crazy and in my face.
Oh, I see.
It's about as common as like getting into some kind of accident. And you
Sure,
will get
of
into
course.
some kind of accident if you drive. Hopefully it won't be bad, knock on wood.
Public transportation is fantastic.
Oh, I
and
love
wonderful.
it. The people's champion. Thank you.
You are, Amber.
Yeah.
Champion my...
Champion my pussy.
I went through a lot of really fucked up cases today for the season coming up on Wednesday, guys. It's coming out starting
It's coming
Wednesday.
on Wednesday. Yeah.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy.
It's the weight of the world. Atlas Shrugged, but with a Mormon church.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I'm really looking forward to the season finally coming out, but Man, it's intense. We talked to a lot of people for the season, and I think it's going to be really good, and people hopefully will learn maybe something. I learned a ton doing it, and there's some really funny guests and interesting people who we're talking to. So, yeah, the promo will come out tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. But, yeah, we're back this week, guys.
Hold your breath. And Natalie is editing the video for our promo. And I was like, oh, my God, is that the Sauron Castle? And you were like, no, that's the Mormon church. So I don't know why they directed it to be evil, but...
Yeah, it's a video of one of the temples, and it does look like Mordor a little bit.
A little bit.
Somebody who loves the Dracula's castle aesthetic, I'm into it, but I think that they're trying to not represent themselves in that way, and they just can't. It comes out that way because I don't know. It's like if you have, it's like the Trumpy thing where it's like if everything's gold and like jewels and tiles and stuff, you look like an asshole.
Right.
Like you're just like, this isn't majestic. It isn't beauty. It's not mindful. Are we still saying that one? It's not demure.
No.
It's giving step on a person dying in the streets face to walk over them. That's what that looks like to me.
Well, I think it's all about your internal thoughts and how they represent on your face. It's kind of like being positive is one of the best beauty regimes you can have, because if you think negative thoughts and if you're just a hateful person, no matter how much clear skin you have or like workouts you do, it's going to come across and you're just going to look like, in like 10 years. It's just going to happen.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to keep people at bay also. It's always a good, tip. I think a lot of us have heard this tip before, that if you're out alone and you feel unsafe, just start acting like a psycho.
Right.
And then people will stay away from you. Shit yourself, Start screaming and spinning in circles.
Right.
Delighting Gail plays, why are they so into tall, spiky buildings? I actually don't know the answer to that question. I should find that. I should ask. We're interviewing a Next Mormon tomorrow. Maybe I'll ask them if they know.
Oh, what time?
Oh, not tomorrow.
Woo. Thank God.
No, Wednesday.
Wednesday, because I told my roommate, I was like, what if because today I had to do a lot of on-camera stuff. Brighter Side had a photo shoot, and I was like, I don't want to drink last night, because I have stuff to do. But I was like, what if we crash out tonight? And they're like, yeah. So I might go get some vodka and go drink with my roommate.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's fun bonding experience. Yeah. No, you don't have to be on camera tomorrow. Not at least with me. You might have to be on camera with somebody else.
Oh, God. EMSYG says, I think English is more widely spoken in Brussels than Rwanda. I'd love to go to Rwanda, but I don't think I'd go solo for the first time. In Brussels, at least you're a train ride away from an entirely different country as you feel like a vibe change, right? I don't know. I could do a group tour.
I definitely would think you should, if you're going to go to Rwanda alone, to go through a really established tour company.
Right. And not just some guy on the side of the road that said he'd take me.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you would do that, but I think that you're a very positive person, and I think somebody could tell you. You just got to make sure.
Right. I am a little gullible.
You're not gullible. You're friendly, and you are accepting of people.
Right. And unfortunately, I would love to go with a partner, but every guy I've dated, I'd be like, I want to go to Rwanda. Will you come with me, baby? He's just like, fuck no. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. No one will go to Rwanda with me. I just want to get fucked in Rwanda. You can't. Buy my boyfriend. Buy a boyfriend here. Not I would go there for sex tours, and that's crazy. Don't do that.
Please don't.
I would never do that. I hate that. I went to Germany, and they're like, do you get laid? And I was like, no, I'm scared of men. Strange men in the snow. I'm going to go to a museum.
Yeah, it's better probably.
Yeah. No, I did not get laid.
Trying to get some strange in the middle of a foreign country.
No, that's so scary.
Okay, we got to get started in the... Man.
We got to go. We got a lot going on. Okay.
I wanted to just highlight quickly, excuse me, guys, if you want to switch over to my computer, I'm trying to focus on at least one missing case every stream. So I just wanted to bring up these two young women who went missing from Tennessee last year. They're not necessarily friends. They don't know each other, but they do hang out around the same community of people in Tennessee. And so they're trying to figure out if there's any connection between the two of them because they are both very teeny tiny. They're under 5 feet, both of them. And they went missing not that long ago, long apart from one another. So Layla Santanello was last seen last year on June 27th. She was 21 at the time. And this is the other girl. Her name is Holland Snap. She was last seen October 15th last year in the same area of Tennessee. And they are both teeny. And so I just wanted to show their faces to everyone and hope that people know that their families know that they're still being thought about. And there's not really a lot of leads right now. They don't come from an affluent community necessarily. And so sometimes that doesn't, help their situation.
Is there numbers we can call if you do spot them?
Yeah. So if you, oops, I didn't put it in here. One second. I do have the numbers. Here, wait, go off my computer for a second. Not that there's anything bad on it, but I don't want to show you my embarrassing number of links that are open.
Oh, no. Oh, it's called, puppy fucking? No! I'm sorry. Sorry.
Of all the things, that's what you would choose for me? You can call the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office at 423-279-7330 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FINE, Texas Bureau of Investigations. Something went in my throat.
Do you want a sip of water?
Sorry, guys. Don't mean to do that.
Is it one of my hairs on this?
I don't think so. I was teasing.
We're doing great.
We're doing great today. We're doing great. Yeah, so just to highlight there. And then we have a few things to cover today. I think we wanted to talk about the lovely gentleman, the politician from Japan, who had just a really cool
idea.
Fun. He just was throwing spaghetti at a wall.
Out, we like to throw out ideas of what if we had a currency that, that we went back to cash, right? And we just got rid of credit cards. That's an idea.
Yeah, or what if we cut off the penises of sex offenders?
What if,
He has something along those lines, I guess you could say. Do you want to play that video?
Sure. Well, he was doing you'll see in the video. You've seen the video.
The leader of Japan's Conservative Party has been forced to apologise after discussing an idea that women should be banned from marrying after the age of 25 and should have their uteruses removed when they're 30. In a video posted on YouTube as part of a discussion on the country's ageing population and falling birth rate, Naoki Hayakuta went on to say that women shouldn't be allowed to attend university from the age of 18 so they could focus on producing more babies. He had to come out a few days later and say he didn't support it, following criticism across social media. He said he'd framed the ideas as a science fiction storyline to help reverse Japan's declining birth rate, adding that his comments had been extremely harsh and that he didn't advocate such steps against women.
In the saddest way possible, he's still being more reasonable than a lot of conservatives in this country would have been. If that Matt Gaetz said that, he would have been like, yeah, I meant it.
Right, and double down
I meant it.
I meant it. What are you going to do about it? And you'd say to yourself, if you're concerned about the population, the lack of babies being born, why would you want a hysterectomy for women or remove the uteruses at the age of 30 and then, cut off education at 18? Because my mother had me she was 42 years old. She was educated. She was a teacher. She's a very smart woman. So she always told me, if you want to get married, that's great. If you don't want to get married, you don't have to do that. And she really pushed me into reading any kind of book I can get my hands on, learning anything I really wanted to learn. She's like, go for it. And really pushed me to pursue my interests. And I ended up not having kids. So if you have an older mother who has a little bit of an education, she might do the same. Now, if you have a younger mother who never had the privilege of being educated, she's probably going to tell you to do exactly what she did. Just follow in my footsteps. So it's not for the next generation, but it's 2 or 3 generations after that you're going to have just very young women who are uneducated and just popping out those babies, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely that push to try to call it like traditional families or whatever,
Yeah.
which is silly. But yeah, for sure. And also, it's never that sort of mentality never is about, well, maybe we should deal with social issues. Maybe we should see like why people are so mad. What if we just mutilate people instead?
No, it's just punishment of women. That's all it is. And they're mad. A lot of people are mad because, yeah, the birth rate's falling, but also women are out producing more than people thought. I mean, we're joining law. We're going into to be doctors.
They don't like that.
They don't like that.
They don't like
At all. And in case you're wondering, like, hysterectomy, that's not that bad. I have a little video explaining what that is. Don't worry, it's a cartoon. It's not real. But let's go over the...
A hysterectomy is a surgical procedure that removes the uterus. It is often performed to treat conditions such as uterine fibroids, endometriosis, cancer, or chronic bleeding. Depending on the case during the
floating
procedure, after the patient is placed in the lithotomy position, a circumferential incision is made around the cervix. The pouch of Douglas and the vesicotorine pouch are opened, and the uterosacral ligaments are clamped, cut, and tied. The inner ring of the Alexis retractor is inserted around the cervix into the peritoneal cavity. The outer ring of the Alexis retractor is then rolled inward until the desired retraction is achieved. Fingers are used to sweep the area to ensure that tissue is not trapped between the inner ring and the peritoneum. The gel seal cap is secured to the Alexis retractor by closing the lever,
Wait,
and the
that's how that
insufflation
happened?
tubing
Oh,
is
I
connected
thought
to
they
the
just put it
insufflation
in.
port on the gel seal cap. After the patient is placed in the Trendelenburg position, dissection is performed from caudal to cranial until the specimen is mobilized.
Yeah, I'm glad this
The
wasn't a
gel
real
seal
video. I
cap
think I
lever is
would've
opened,
been
and the
clenching
cap
my
is
legs
removed
a
from the
little bit.
Alexis retractor. The specimen is then removed transvaginally. The outer ring of the Alexis retractor is rolled outward until it is loose. The Alexis retractor can then be removed by grasping the tether and pulling outward. The colpotomy is closed using an absorbable running suture.
Well, that was nice. I picked the one with the cartoon instead of the one where they went inside a person's body.
I do. I appreciate seeing that. I don't know if I want to see it
Right.
on a body. That is, I understand it's just how our bodies are shaped, but it's just every time there's any sort of like gynecological care, it always just looks like somebody's like putting stuff inside of a chicken. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
Like, it looks like dinner.
Well, there's not much looked into a lot of gynecological care because women were not permitted to go to university and be a doctor for a long time, and our bodies are generally seen as kind of like an other. A lot of studies are done on men, and that's why
And white men.
and white men specifically. So that's why we're like it's just kind of like a medieval torture device when you have to look at the woman. And also hysterectomies, you usually have to get your husband's permission to do so. And someone just said, I got a hysterectomy at 29 and I still had to have my husband's permission to get one. His words to that doctor was, why do you need me here? It's her body.
Yeah, that is something I've seen. Thanks for sharing that. If anyone else has had a hysterectomy or tried to have one, have you had that experience? Because that is what I believe. It's not a law, but a lot of doctors still won't do it without the permission of the spouse, which is crazy.
Crazy. And you have to have one boy kid and one girl kid.
And that's obviously not the case for a vasectomy. I wish that they would go bring the wife in and be like, "Did you say okay to his penis?
you say okay to his
Did you say?
You say
Is
okay
his
to
pee okay?" Yeah, that's fucking crazy. And also, I've seen some people speak on being a grown adult woman and doctors declining their request for hysterectomy because they're of breeding age, and I'm gonna say breeding. And then being like, no, you're gonna want later. I'm not gonna let you do that, you silly little girl. You're
Right.
so silly. That's fucking crazy.
Crazy. And some people, they need to get hysterectomies because I was looking at some videos and there was a, what do you call it? This where they can see X-ray of a woman's uterus, and it had just endometriosis. So just like giant polyps inside of her tummy, and she was like, I am hurting every day, and she can't have a kid, so they had to get it removed.
Yeah, and not to say, I know that people who've gone through them, it's not like it's just, a vasectomy is a lot easier on the body, but if that's what you want to do and go through that process, of course it's going to be like, not like, oh, you just walk around and everything's fine the next day.
No, your intestine can come out of your vagina.
But you know, there's a lot of things that can come out of your vagina.
Right.
And your butt.
Smurfs came out of there.
Does anyone know what a pink sock is? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. You'll regret it.
Well, that was fun, right? And we were discussing about the show order because we like to go from least hurtful to most. So
that was the easy.
That was the easy one.
Easy one. Yeah. So let's go over. Let's do the. You guys want to talk about child torture?
Yay!
Let's maybe talk about this video here. Do we have volume on it?
Let's talk. Cool.
Yes, sorry.
That article, we're not going to talk about that
in
because
Utah to cross.
sometimes good
Two
intentions can be
videos went off
scuttled.
at the same time.
You know, we're doing great. Women in STEM.
I'm just like them. I don't know why that's playing. That's super weird. Okay, let's take that away. You're going to come up.
9 children. My parents had 9 children because my dad refused to get fixed and said God told him to have more kids. Whoa, 9
that
kids?
seems like that's really the American way. All right, do you want to try again?
All right.
Welcome back. It's a growing problem both in Utah and across the country that has child advocates alarmed.
Investigators say more and more children are being tortured in recent years, and they're not really certain why. And many of the cases sound eerily similar to 2 high-profile cases right here in the state of Utah.
2 News' Paul Nelson has more tonight in this 2 News Investigates report.
The death of Gavin Peterson in West Haven, the abuse and torture of the children of Ruby Franke. Their stories shocked the entire country, but child advocates say stories like theirs are happening far more often in recent years all over the country.
Emaciated, he's got tape around his legs.
It's been over a year since Ruby Franke's children were rescued from the abuse they had been subject to for months, and their mother, along with convicted child abuser Jody Hildebrandt, were arrested.
No, I'm not going to step out of
Step out of the house. Step out of the house.
Just watch her get yanked out real quick. Yeah, there you go.
So how have the kids...
Sorry, you want to stop for a second? So,
Whoa.
whoa, whoa.
They grabbed her out of that house.
I just have 2 starving, dying children in here. Don't touch me. So that first part of that video is interesting to me because they're saying that they're getting reports that child torture is on the up, but I'm curious to know where they're getting those stats beyond what they talk about later in this video, because I imagine that is probably happening more. You could say maybe that's partly because of COVID and the stress, not that's an excuse, but that parents are more like angry during that time, from that time, and also the political climate I think also does ramp up people in general, and it's very
expensive.
That, and also just like the rhetoric of everything and how it's become like kind of encouraged to like be like your worst impulses, like bring them to the surface. They're cool. It's fine to do that. But I also wonder if there's a level of this being more prevalent because we are just in society accepting children as people in certain ways, and like they're being reported more, because I do think that child torture in the home, which I'll go back into in the video, is really common and very much, if you want to say trad family. I think that it's more, maybe is there to some extent that we just are knowing about more of it than we used to because it wasn't being called child torture.
Right.
It was called discipline or something like that.
And like some of the punishments I've seen just sound like torture to me. Like one of my girlfriends from back in the day, she was raised really religious by her grandmother. And she said that if she like spoke back at a turn or something, her grandmother made her kneel on rocks and pray for like an hour.
Was it rice? Kneeling on rice is a thing.
Or rocks or something. It was like something hard, and then it might have been rock. I don't fucking know. But she had to kneel on something really hard. Like I thought it was rocks. It might have been rice.
No, I have no idea. Either would be terrible.
Right. She just kind of mentioned it to me once in passing. That's why I'm like, is it rice or rock? And I kind of like whoa. And it's like, that's torture. And she's like, she kind of, you could tell she realized it was, but didn't want to say it because that means like,
Well, yeah, it's hard.
it's hard to admit like you're a victim. And like her grandma died, so was she gonna yell at her on a Ouija board? So
I think she should try.
she should fuck you.
Can you get this?
Right.
So yeah, I know that that's probably also a thing, but I know that on rice, uncooked rice is connected to some religious movements, that praying, being forced to like put your knees on rice, and it seems like that would be that bad, except little tiny needles pushing into your knee bones is torturous.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
torture.
Slow torture.
I knelt on a carpet and had to hold a penny against the wall. Yeah, that's torture.
That is crazy, and I'm sorry that you went through that. That sucks. And you know, we're learning more about human beings, and we're learning more about why people did things. And I don't think everybody in the past was just evil, but I think we're calling things torture way more now. So like it feeling like the cases have ramped up might just be more that some of the things you guys are describing are those things, but you wouldn't have not you, but other people wouldn't, adults around you wouldn't have called it that at the time. T-Girl Taco used to get stabbed with a fork by my grandfather for having my elbows on the table. God damn, guys.
Yeah, my dad used to not talk about his father ever, and the only story he ever said is that because his father was very German, and apparently in that household, when you have dinner and you have a glass of milk, you can't have milk during the meal. It has to be afterwards. And if he tried to take a sip, his dad would beat him. And I'm like, oh, that's torture. What the fuck?
Yeah, I had a classmate who was a good friend of mine who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago from drug addiction. But her dad caught her smoking cigarettes and then made her smoke pack after pack after pack in front of him until she was like vomiting and sick. It didn't work.
It didn't work?
No.
Oh.
And I would wager to say that probably caused a lot more, I don't know, psychological damage than anything else, really.
Here we go. Teachers,
guys, we're trying to make sense of this world, and everybody's doing a great job in their lives, just so we're all.
Oh, we got a teacher here saying that withholding food is a normal punishment. That's also torture.
It is.
You wouldn't even do that in prison.
Yeah, starvation.
Cool.
And that. Let's watch a little bit more of this video real quick.
Been doing since then.
I will say that each one of them is doing
This
well.
fucking guy.
And progressing and healing and in many ways thriving in their own ways.
Their father, Kevin Franke, isn't allowed to say much about how his children are doing. However, it's evident they're still trying to process the trauma they've gone through.
I think that,
So awful to look at.
especially from the interactions and the discussions I've had with my own children in the aftermath of those tragedies, I really strongly believe that there are some things that are worse than death. And I think torture would definitely classify as one of those.
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
I can't with that guy. I cannot with him.
So what's his deal?
That's her husband.
Oh,
We talked about him a bunch. He essentially keeps going on to talk about this, and I know some people have sympathy for him, but he keeps just saying things like, "Why didn't anybody stop me?" It's like essentially
That's what a
he's
kid
saying.
says. That's what
Yeah.
a spoiled kid says.
Yeah. Why didn't anyone stop me from abusing all my kids? Whatever. I'm glad that he feels strongly about it now, but I have to say again, the reason I might seem frazzled is because like the number of hours of like stories of like severe child abuse, child torture, child SA from his church that the bishops knew of and actively made the people not report.
Oh, like putting tape over the child's mouth?
Not even just that, but
Because they would show up to church with tape on their mouth.
well,
like,
that
really
was
open.
that was Jody Hildebrandt's nibbling. Yeah,
Right.
Jesse. Yeah, but just the number of people within his community who basically encourage the child abuse because they don't want to rock the boat or rock the tithings coming in,
Yeah.
or make the church look bad. The community that he's a part of is perpetuating extreme violence to kids. Like, child abuse and child torture in the LDS Church is unfathomable. It's crazy how much happens in there and how much is protected.
There's a lot of like kids camps for like the bad kids they get sent to, and like Paris Hilton went to one. I don't know if it's LDS adjacent.
Yo, no, that one was LDS.
It was
adjacent.
because she has stories of like, yeah, we would like, you know, sleep in cold room or like rooms with no like heat in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, they took their one son to a wilderness retreat too. The one who didn't have a bed for almost a year for being naughty. Even though his privacy was being used to fund their entire family, he wasn't allowed to have a bed.
Wow. Napcat9617 says, after leaving the LDS Church, people would ask why, and I would always answer, I can't in good conscience put my future children through this.
Yeah.
So very brave of you to leave, because also when you leave, you're like, oh, I could go to hell. Like I could burn for eternity.
Yeah, and I think, I believe if I'm wrong, correct me, but it's they consider it outer darkness.
Right.
It's not, they don't have the traditional
Burning hell.
But what they do have is this promise of an eternal family, and it mostly works out for the guy, but that he gets to like have his family and his like lordship over the new world that he will be a part of, and that he will be over. And so there's like all these questions which will come up quite a bit in the season of guys who were tithing paying members, who were essaying their own children, who were what the bishops knew about and didn't stop them and didn't pull the kids out of the house and then died. Do you think that, are you saying that that guy gets to have his family in the you know, in the celestial kingdom?
Because that's hell for the kid. What, they're just going to be graped forever? And I said grape.
You did.
Thank
I'm proud of you. Thank you for saving us from that horrible word.
Right. Yeah. That's hell for the kid.
It doesn't seem to matter. I can't.
And like also like at what age? Because the kid is also their own soul.
I think at 8 is when you're considered. Well, at 8 you can be a sinner. So you can be a bad little boy or girl, but you don't really have any human rights at that point.
Right. But say I'm a man and I'm in the LDS Church and I go to my planet and I guess I bring my family with me, but what if my son is, now he's 25? Like, does he join me at 25? Does he have his own planet?
I think, yeah, I don't know how that how that lineup works, guys. Can somebody explain that?
Or is he like forever 6 years old, you know?
I don't know.
Let me know.
These are theological philosophical questions. We got philosophy and STEM here tonight.
Write in thesomeplaceunderneath@gmail.com.
To give us science lessons.
To give us.
If anybody is former LDS who wants to share a story or wants to have us know something about the church in general for this season, please write in. We've talked to a lot of ex-Mormons. We're about to talk to a current Mormon. So we are trying to we want to hear from you guys. We're not talking out of our butts because we didn't grow up in the church. So we want to hear from you. If there's something that you want to share, let us know. We might be a little bit behind on emails, but we'll be getting back to you really soon. Yeah. Mormon hell is, of course, very complicated. Napcat9617. I was so scared that my family would be hurt that I was ending our LDS lineage. Turns out my whole family was just waiting for someone to leave so I could follow. Well, that's nice. That's really nice because, as you probably are well aware, if one person leaves the church or is excommunicated, a lot of times they are heavily encouraged to not, their families are kind of being like, you don't want to really be around that guy. He's bad news.
Oh, right, because then they can just get you with their sinful nature.
Right, their lusts and their taste for gambling. I don't know. I think that a lot of people also misconstrue people leaving the church as like, you just want to go because you just want to do all the worst things you ever heard. And actually you can do all the worst things you've ever heard of and stay in the church. Isn't that fun?
Isn't that fun? And also, isn't it funny when people are like, because I've had this said to me before, I can't wait to go to heaven, I could do whatever I want. And I'm like, what's stopping you from doing what you want now? Is it the law?
Yeah, and then that is another thing that we will be talking about a bunch on this season, which we brought up a little bit, I think, last time about vertical versus horizontal morality. and how different, and we're seeing this on this wider scale, the United States scale, of being like, I don't understand how you are not seeing how horrible what you're believing in is. Like, you're believing and agreeing with these horrendous things, and it's really because we are in a time period where there's this massive, there's 50% of this country that kind of sees things as, I guess you could look at it if you were trying to be cynical, like, oh, socialist talk, like individualism mixed together with like empathy, and then the vertical version is God, leader, you have to do what they say up here. Don't worry about anything going on down here. In fact, what they're doing is probably bad. We need to focus this way. And so we're having this really strange part. And I think it's a unique thing in time right now where we're having such a cross section of it. Historians can probably correct me on that, but it feels like very unique to this time right now. But religion comes and goes as a popular part of culture. It's not always been everyone's Christian, in this country.
Well, in America?
Yeah.
I think it has.
No, I mean, like basically in the 50s and 60s, this huge, like the evangelism world kind of exploded, and there were time periods before then where it was people went to church, but it wasn't something that it was like a part of their everyday culture life. Everything they did was just like based around like the charismatic leader and the Bible and all this stuff. It was much more just a thing you did.
Oh, like the 20s, they had the flappers. They didn't go to church.
Oh, they never went to church.
Oh, those are loose women.
Skirts were they don't let tassels. Ooh. Fringe can't go to church. That's flapper, I think.
That's right.
Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong camera.
I think in Europe for a long time it was. People cared more about your religion than they cared about your ethnicity.
Yeah, it's definitely. One of the reasons that people came over here.
Right. Because
history, science, philosophy.
Wah!
You don't even need to go to school if you come over to this live stream.
We're so smart. Natalie, what's 6 times 4?
24.
That's fucking right. Yeah.
At Girl Taco, the SPUN email is someplace underneath @gmail.com. Just the name of the show. You can go, if you need to spell it, you can go over like to Instagram or something to find it. It's easier than me spelling it out probably.
Kinder Bun Bun says, former teacher, there's still sexism within the schools in the form of dress codes. A girl dressed up as a mall goth for 90s Day. The older teachers were mad at me for not dress coding the kid.
As in, it was provocative?
90s mall goth? Those are fun. Those are like emo kids.
I mean, I definitely, as a 90s kid who dressed like a little crusty girl, they acted like I was doing something wrong. But that's kind of the fun of it a little bit.
I guess that's why you do it.
Yeah.
What other horrible thing we're going to talk about?
This one's real horrible.
Forced hysterectomies, child torture. What's next, Natalie?
Well, okay. This is my getting on my soapbox for either young people or people with kids.
Oh, Zara626, thank you for gifting all these subs.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for that. This is another one of my please listen to me when I say you have to either, if you're a young person, not engage with strangers, or if you are a parent with a young person and you're home, talk to them about social media. If you don't understand social media, learn about it so you can talk to them, because they're going to go on it. And if you just ban everything and try, a lot of us have little rebel hearts. If you say you can't do anything, you can't look at it, you can't, they're going to do it anyway.
Right.
So they have to know about it. But this is a story. This is I believe he is Scottish. It's a UK case, if you want to kick over to my screen. So this is a kid, Alexander McCartney. He is a young man. He's in his early 20s. He had been catfishing little girls for years. This is a little girl who is she's a U.S. kid. She's from, I want to say West Virginia, I'm sorry. She's from West Virginia. He was extorting little girls. He was pretending to be a child, a little girl himself, would develop a friendship with them and then convince them to send him photos, which he would then use as leverage to say, if you don't send me more content, I'm going to send this to your family. And this is really, really fucking sad, guys.
So he's dead now, right?
Oh, no, he's in jail.
He's shot in the back of the head?
No, he's in jail. This little girl, however, took her own life because he had told her if she didn't include her little sister in the content, that he was going to reveal what she did. And so instead of doing that, she found her dad's gun. She's a 12-year-old girl. And she'd been talking to, sorry, that made me tear up.
Sorry, Natalie.
It's just like so unbelievably terrible. She wanted her to not make her little sister go through that. And so she didn't think she had another choice. And actually, her father ended up the next year taking his life too. They didn't know. They didn't know why she did it. So she did this. Time went by, and they found a link to this guy from another case. And going through, so basically another family reported that he had been catfishing their daughter. This girl brought the stuff to the family. And also, please be open with your kid that they can come to you if they're in the situation and that they won't be in trouble, because I'm sure her dad would have never even considered thinking about that. But she thought that she was so scared of what was going to happen that she didn't want to be alive anymore. And this is the man.
Yeah, show us his fucking face.
His name is Alexander McCartney. He's currently 26. He will never get out of jail. It's a minimum of 20 years, but from everything I've read, he's not going to get out in 20 years.
I mean, honestly, they should just fucking kill this guy.
I don't know what they do with death penalty in the UK, but yeah. So he has charges involving 70 children, but he
70?
But he actually talked to thousands of kids. He tried to get thousands of kids to give him content, and this was not necessarily a money-making scheme as much as he is just human. He's a fucking creature. And he's from Scotland. This affected kids from the entire world. And you have to think about the ripple effect of all of the kids who he's damaged, who we don't know about.
And they're going to go off and maybe have their own children. And how are they going to raise? It's a ripple effect.
If nothing else, that's not to say those people will go on to be victimizers, but it destroys lives. It destroys lives. It destroys families.
How will they live their life? How will they act around the world?
So
fuck him.
Yeah, this is so important. Yeah, we obviously have to address what causes somebody to behave in that way and what needs to happen to prevent these things. But you also have to be proactive from home. Like this is this is one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to say that those kids will be predators to their own kids. I mean, like, how are they going to
process the
trauma and
right? You don't
and live.
You don't. When this kind of thing happens, it's not like it lives inside of a little vacuum. It goes throughout your life in different ways, and then that goes onto your family and onto your kids. And this kid, I don't think he's ever provided a real, what reason could you? But that he basically just said he became addicted to it and he was watching too much porn. And I hear so many offenders say that. There'll be one and from the LDS Church who also, he died by suicide, thankfully, while he was awaiting trial. But he also said the reason that he was saying his children and filming it and selling it was because he was addicted to porn. And I call complete and utter horseshit on that. I think that you can have an issue with porn if you are constantly, consuming it, but it doesn't make you do those things.
You're just looking for anything to blame. It's woe is unto me. He's sorry he got caught. It's anything but like me and my responsibilities and my actions.
And like, I should just also mention that kid, the man who did all this, of course, was living in his parents' basement, literally. No offense to anybody living with their parents. I lived with my parents for a time when I was like 30 years old. But it's just like, this guy wouldn't do anything with his life because he wasn't like achieving things and living in his parents' house. He was just sitting in there.
Worthless.
Yeah. And
we have like an anti-COVID lockup, and instead of get out, and it's like everybody's got to get out of their basements for one day.
Turn the internet off for one day.
Turn it off for one day. We all got to get outside and just see, because I bet there's a lot of people unaccounted for. Demon Limerick brought up a great point about this is happening in a lot of South Korean places, because women will just post online and then men will take the picture and then use it as a deep fake for pornography, and then they'll go and blackmail their bosses and their parents and say, like, you either have to have sex with me or give me more images or I'm going to release this to them. Fuck them.
While I understand the fear of being exposed in that way, I feel like we really need to take the act of what is happening now a lot of times with sex offenders, where you used to not be able to see the people, men, but also sometimes women. It would be like this mystery creature, just like this sex offender. Show their faces.
Right.
Don't internalize the shame of somebody blackmailing you. Shame them. Fucking call those people out. Yeah. They're the pieces of shit. It's like that, going all the way back to like the Paris Hilton sex tape. We were like looking at her and being like, I can't believe she did something like that. Like,
right.
ugh. Meanwhile, she comes forward years later being like, he put out porn that against my will. And like, people were saying there's something wrong with me. That man should be fucking
in jail,
like having fucking garbage thrown at him every day. Shame that motherfucker. People who do stuff like this, doing blackmail stuff, they're the ones who should be ashamed. They're the ones who should be embarrassed.
I can see if you're like a young woman and you're at home alone, you're like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, you have nothing to be concerned about. You did nothing wrong.
Right.
You're a victim. These people are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, Damon Limerick, I very much agree. I don't want, after the family already went through that level of suffering, but yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be a gun owner, you can't like have your guns out, man.
No. You
can't let kids access guns. You gotta lock them up, please. Like, how many kids do have to just die in that way too?
There are so many farms that do similar things, but for money. I know there are some in the Philippines. What is wrong with people? Like, legit, like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Is there like a sickness that you just need more and more and more, and like more vulnerability? And should we just honestly like shoot most people in the back of the fucking head? I don't know.
No,
I'm a peaceful, positive person.
I can tell. No, I know. I understand your feeling. I was just saying I'm going to start carrying an emotional support chainsaw with me. But I don't think, obviously, there's any easy answer or easy reasoning. But I do think that things like people being excluded from education, from money, we see like where the kids are trafficked the heaviest in other countries is usually in extreme poverty.
Right.
People not having enough, and that's not an excuse, but that's where it happens a lot of the time because they don't know what else to do. It happens in more wealthy countries when, you know, we have these sort of misogynistic, patriarchal tent stakes in our world. It makes people, I think, go a little bit crazy. And I also think having access to the internet without having any way to discern information, and I think that's also making people crazy.
I feel like giving the internet to us is kind of, to humans, is kind of like giving a toddler a gun. It's just so powerful. We don't quite know what we're doing with it yet. So, I mean, we could do something really beautiful, but instead we're making deep fakes of women, of pornography.
There is...
Fucking kill yourself.
There is beautiful stuff that happens from communication.
I don't say it. Sorry. Like, fuck, kill yourself.
We can't say that
can't say
legally.
That. Sorry, I got mad. Yes.
There are beautiful things. There are beautiful things that, like, sharing information has brought. But I think that having all of this access to stuff without having people be taught like the ability to like understand what propaganda is, what manipulation looks like, what now we're starting to teach kids about media literacy, but we're seeing the effects of our older generations losing
their
minds, dude. Like the idea that we used to just be like, you have to respect the wisdom of your elders, and I'm like, where
they think like the minion on the cross, they're like, he died on the cross.
Yeah, doing the AI stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
T Girl Taco, thank you for gifting all these subs. Man, don't take what I said about the pew literally. I just got mad, and this is satire.
Hunting Warhead is a good podcast about multinational task force to take down large CSAM sites. It's a hard listen, but you learn you don't fuck with Australia. Yeah, I wonder. Wait, I believe that horrible, horrible man was Australian. I don't even want to say his name, but he's in jail forever.
The one that went to the Philippines, and then did all of the child exploitation films.
I'm pretty sure he was Australian.
Thailand, I think, because they have anti-death penalty, but they were thinking about reinstating it just for his nasty ass.
They considered his crimes were so unbelievable that they were considering reinstating it for him. What I just see. Delighting Gale plays. I lived in 2 of those facilities, one faith-based and one not. They were both pretty rough. I'm so sorry, which facilities? Because I'm curious about what you were referencing there. In 2 of the teen centers. If you are still around, if you want to pop that in there. The Weed Wife, I spend a non-insignificant amount of time of my week trying to convince parents to not send their kids to wilderness camps. I wish parents had access to more options that weren't predatory and traumatic. Yeah, because a lot of those parents, they're not just doing it because they want to punish their kids and they hate them. A lot of them probably feel they don't know what to do. They're confused. They're probably hurting, and there's no regulations on some of those kinds of camps and those homes, and they promise you a lot of shit. They promise you they're going to fix stuff. They promise you that your kid just needs this or this or this, but they don't have qualifications. They don't have standards. They don't have any accountability, and they end up not helping at all. But you pay them a ton of money.
And I'm sure,
so much.
Also, I'm sure the parents are like, 4 weeks without my bad kid? Great. Send him off.
Sometimes. But I think some parents genuinely want the best for their kid, and they don't know what else to do.
Right.
I would not say that about the Frankies, for example. I do think that they enjoy the punishment aspect. Delighting Gale plays. Yes, those. Went to 2 teen reform places. One in Montana, one in Illinois. The not faith-based one in Illinois was definitely better, but not by much. I didn't even know there was any that weren't faith-based. That's, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. That's interesting, though, in the sense that the ones that I come across are always based around biblical stuff. I would be curious to learn more about that.
There's also T-Girl Taco that says, my parents didn't know what to do with me, and they sent me to a wilderness camp. Holy shit, T-Girl Taco, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And you're not a bad kid. Again, I didn't mean all these kids are bad, but you know what I mean?
T-Girl Taco, Stephen Anderson, the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Movement. Isn't he the one whose kids have just started coming forward about him? I'm pretty sure he's the guy whose children who have turned adults immediately were like, he tortured us. It was not good where we grew up. You just watch these families and go these kids are going to grow up and say stuff, and then they immediately do. And I'm pretty sure that's the guy. He's losing his mind on the internet. He's very angry about it. No, that guy's a piece of work.
It's 6:00. Did you have any other? So we got one silly video.
Yeah, let's do silly video. I do think next time we need to briefly bring up the article from Austin saying that kids are at least 8 times more likely to be molested by a church leader than a drag queen. So they did a study. But let's watch a nice
It's almost
thing.
like drag queens are used as a scapegoat. We have some subs.
Oh, subs, guys. MCG, Spaghetti _ Lee, Tech Noir, TN, Lisa 1387, Zar626. You're always a fucking banger, Zar2626. Gifted 5 subs. T-Girl Taco, thank you so much, gifting 5 subs. Thank you guys so much for being. This was kind of a heavy one. I was a little all over the place, but I also feel like I say that every time.
No.
I come in with all of these things I want to talk about that are all bad and equally bad, and then just go like,
and then I put my foot in my mouth. It's like in every stream. I always say like fucking something horrible, but
I understand the things you say are usually directed towards people that kind of deserve it, but we can't say it because we have other people who work here and they need to have jobs too, you know?
Right, exactly. We're not going to get demonetized.
I mean, if it hasn't happened yet.
There was a guy on here saying our body, your choice, or my choice, whatever. He's like, he was just talking about rape. Like, if nothing happened to him, come on.
That guy definitely, like, licks his poopy butthole.
Well, you know he's gay, right?
Well, it's not even why I said that. He could be closeted, I don't know. He's
No, he
just
is.
genuinely a piece of... He loves eating poop.
He likes femme cat boys. This is actually true. He likes femme cat boys. He's a gay man. So, like...
I believe it,
when
but
was
he
yelling-
doesn't admit that, though, right?
No, he did a live stream once where he was like on a date with a femme cat boy, and he looked so happy. And I'm like, okay.
I don't
so when
care.
He was yelling, "Your body, my choice." I'm like, you're not gonna do anything. You're fucking gay. You're
But also, I don't want him to thrive and be happy. Fuck
No,
that guy. He
fuck
sucks.
him.
I'm not even going to say his name.
No,
you guys
not his
know
name.
who it is.
Not his name. He loves gay porn and cat boys. Yes, so they agree with me.
I say spread every rumor you can about him. He deserves it.
All right, it's real though. All right, let's do this silly video.
What funny thing?
Take me to the king. I don't have
No
much
way,
to
that's
bring.
not true.
My heart's torn in pieces. It's my offering.
Oh, we gotta love grandmas on
That's
Facebook.
real. I'm
It is.
choosing to believe that's really what.
Can we play it one more time?
Take me to the king.
He's got human
Have
teeth.
much to bring. My heart's torn in pieces. It's my offering.
I think the problem was that somebody put human teeth in his mouth and then probably killed him.
That's the thing. Do you think it's real though, Natalie?
I don't know. How are we to know?
That's a real grandma really did that, but I was joking to see like the dog can sing. But this has been a fun chat. We went all over the place.
Yep.
Now we all know how hysterectomies work.
And please speak to the vulnerable young people in your life about guys like that guy from Scotland. We can do
Right.
this, guys. We can do
do
it.
it. Yeah, let's get him out of here. We love you
Jerking
guys.
off for angels.
Jerking off 4 angels. Oh yeah, sucking on the Lord's cum.